Hello, friends. Good evening. Today, we are going to discuss a topic which is one of the biggest traps in CLAT. And the topic is invitation to an offer. Many students lose marks in this area, not because they are unaware of the law, but because they confuse an offer with an invitation to an offer. Till now, we discussed what an offer is, but despite being aware of what an offer is, a number of students get confused between the terms offer and invitation to an offer. And today's lecture will ensure that this never happens to you again. By the end of this class, you should be able to look at any real life situation and say confidently, this is an offer or this is only an invitation to an offer. That I can promise you. Okay, so where what all we have what all we have finished so far, what all we have finished when it comes to offer, we have seen what is an offer, we have seen how is an offer communicated, and in the last class we saw different types of offers. And as I said, today we move to a closely related but very different concept, which is invitation to an offer. The basic thing that you need to keep in mind straight away is that an invitation to an offer is not an offer. So, one thing we have established right away, which is that invitation to an offer is different from an offer. So, we will need to understand clearly as to what is an invitation to an offer. An invitation to an offer is only an invitation. It is only an invitation to negotiate. To simplify this, you can note this point that an invitation to an offer shows willingness to receive offers, but no final intention to be bound. It is as simple as saying that I'm open to receiving an offer. I'm not making an offer. So you can also note this. I'm not making an offer, but I am open to receiving an offer from third parties, which means that once I receive an offer from a third party, then I will consider whether I want to agree to that offer or whether I want to accept that offer or not. It is up to me. I'm only inviting third parties to make an offer to me. It is up to me whether I want to accept or reject that offer. And please focus on this line. because this keeps coming in CLAT exams, and this is where a lot of people get confused. In an invitation to an offer, the person who is inviting that offer does not intend to be bound immediately. And we will understand this with the help of examples. But as I said just a while ago, whoever is inviting somebody to make them an offer, that person is only expressing the fact that he or she is open to receiving an offer. And once an offer is received, it will be up to that person whether he wants to go ahead with that offer or he wants to reject that offer. Now, if you look at the legal meaning of invitation to an offer, let's understand this once more. When a party puts forward certain terms and invites the other party to make an offer on those terms, it is called an invitation to an offer. What does this mean in very simple terms? Let's say you study in a school. Let's say you're the topper of the class and you have handwritten notes and you want to make some money out of it. You make a declaration in the class that I have handwritten notes available with me. Anybody who wishes to purchase my handwritten notes can approach me. So you just say, anyone who wants to buy my handwritten notes can come to me. What does this line indicate? This line indicates that you are open to receiving an offer. This is not an offer which you are making. You are just inviting third parties to make an offer to you. What offer? A third party may come and tell you that I want to buy your handwritten notes for rupees 10. Will you sell it to me? That will be an offer. Here, the statement that you made is only an invitation to third parties, clearly conveying the idea that you are open to receiving offers from third parties. Okay, we'll look at a few more examples which are quite helpful to understand this concept of helpful for understanding this concept of invitation to an offer. One is, you might have seen when you go to a mall or a shop that goods are displayed with price tags. So let's say there's a jeans that you see and there's a price tag saying 2000 rupees, rupees 2000 for that jeans. Question is this an offer? How would you decide whether something is an offer or an invitation to an offer? The test is acceptance. In simple terms, what does it mean? It means that if something is an offer, then The moment acceptance is communicated, parties are bound by the offer and acceptance. It means that if you tell a shopkeeper that you want to purchase, let's say you tell the shopkeeper that you want to purchase a particular pen for rupees 10, and you ask the shopkeeper, will you sell me this pen for rupees 10? And the shopkeeper says, yes, I accept your offer, I will sell it to you at rupees 10. Now, in this case, the statement that you made to the shopkeeper is an offer. Why? Because the moment the shopkeeper communicated his acceptance, now both you and the shopkeeper are bound by the offer, which means that now you cannot say that I will not buy your pen. You cannot say that. And neither the shopkeeper can say that I will not sell this pen to you. So that is the test. But when it comes to invitation to an offer, so this is something, the first scenario that we discussed. This is about an offer. But when we talk about invitation to an offer, in this scenario, acceptance does not bind the parties. Again, come back to the shop example where there's a jeans with a price tag. Jeans is displayed with a price tag. You tell the shopkeeper that take your 2000 rupees, take your 2000 rupees and take 2000 rupees and sell me the jeans. I want to buy this jeans. Question is the shopkeeper, the moment you tell him that I want to buy this jeans for rupees 2000, is the shopkeeper bound to sell that? Which means, is the shopkeeper obligated to sell it to you, or can he refuse? Or can he refuse by saying that sorry, I won't sell the jeans to you because I don't like you? If you think carefully, and you you keep coming across these scenarios quite frequently, you go to a market, you ask the vegetable vendor, will you sell me potatoes for 50 rupees? Even if, let's say, the potatoes are priced at 50 rupees, the shopkeeper is well within his rights to refuse and say that no, I won't sell it to you. And you can't do anything about it because the statement that you made is an offer from your side, and which is originating from an invitation to an offer. How the vegetable vendor invites third parties to make an offer to the vegetable vendor, which is what you did. So, based on his invitation to an offer, you made an offer that I want to buy potatoes for 50 rupees. Now, it was well within the rights of the vegetable vendor to accept or refuse your offer. Okay, so in this scenario, is the shopkeeper bound to sell that, or can he refuse? He can certainly refuse. Now, if he can refuse, it tells us It is an invitation to an offer. Let's understand this with a few more examples. I know it is slightly technical, but with the help of certain examples, I'm sure you will be able to understand this clearly. Let's look at Amazon Flipkart. The first example that we saw was that of physical shops in your locality. Amazon, Flipkart, these are e-commerce platforms where you can purchase products digitally. On these platforms, you might have seen that products are displayed with price. Price is also mentioned that this is you can purchase this iPhone for rupees 70,000, 80,000. Does it mean that does it mean that Flipkart is making you an offer? One second, hold on. Does it mean that Flipkart or Amazon is making you an offer? Now apply the test that we saw. What is the test? Test is if your acceptance can bind Flipkart or the seller. Flipkart or the seller. Flipkart is merely a platform. So there are third parties, there are sellers who list their products on Flipkart or Amazon. So if your acceptance can bind the seller who is selling his product on Flipkart, then it is an offer. Ask yourself, can the seller refuse to sell the product to you? You might have seen that when you click on a product and by the time you reach the payment page, on many occasions you might have seen that the product is the product becomes unavailable. Okay, this clearly shows that the seller is not bound to sell you that product, and it is you who is making an offer to the seller that I want to buy this product at the price that you have displayed. Okay, so how do you do that? How do you convey your offer? You select the product and make the payment. Only when your payment is accepted by the seller, it means that does it mean that it means that the offer made by you has been accepted by the seller, not before that. Which means that even if price is fixed on Flipkart or Amazon, contract is formed or the parties are bound only when seller accepts your order, which means that only when the seller accepts your payment. Even after you have made a payment, seller can refuse that payment. It is like a shop. Jeans is displayed, you want to purchase the jeans at the price which is mentioned there on the price tag, and you give the shopkeeper 2000 rupees. Even if you give him 2000 rupees, it does not mean that the shopkeeper is bound to sell you the jeans. He can always return your money. Only when the shopkeeper accepts your payment does he become bound by your offer. Okay, let's look at another example, and which is quite famous when it comes to exams like CLAT. And this is lowest price example. So you also might have seen statements like lowest price of a particular, let's say lowest price of a car is rupees 10 lakh, or you might have seen in advertisements starting price of BMW rupees 10 lakh. Question: is it an offer? Apply the test. If you give 10 lakh to the showroom owner, is he bound to sell you the car? The answer is no. He is inviting you to make an offer. And when the showroom owner displayed this statement saying starting price of BMW is rupees 10 lakh, it is quite clear that there was no final intention on the part of the showroom owner to sell that car to you at that particular price. He is only inviting offers from third parties. So that a third party may come and say that he or she is interested in purchasing that car, which is available for rupees 10 lakh. And after that, it is up to the shopkeeper or showroom owner whether he wants to sell the car or not. Okay, so I'm sure by now you would have understood the test clearly. Let's look at one more example to understand it even better. Auction. What happens in an auction? You see that an auction is called, so there are certain items are auctioned. It means that there is a party who is calling an auction, party calling an auction invites people to make bids. And you might have seen this on TV also, IPL. You see that, let's say, a player's name is mentioned by the auctioneer, the person who is conducting the auction. She says that Yashasvi Jaiswal for rupees 2 crores. Now there are various bids. A lot of teams bid for Yashasvi Jaiswal, saying that, let's say RR says rupees 2 crore. Mumbai Indians may say rupees 5 crore. And the bid may go up to, let's say, CSK rupees 10 crores. And this is the highest bid. CSK makes the highest bid. Question: is the auctioneer bound to sell Jaiswal to CSK at rupees 10 crore, which is the highest bid? Apply the test. What is the auctioneer doing in this case? Is the auctioneer making an offer, or is the auctioneer inviting bids from third parties? Which simply means, is the auctioneer inviting offers from third parties? I am only displaying a product to you, and you make me an offer as to how much you want to pay for this product. Whoever makes the highest bid, or whoever offers the highest price, it is up to me who is conducting the auction whether I want to accept the highest price or not. Which means that it is up to the auctioneer whether they want to accept the highest bid. So this tells us that even if CSK has made the highest bid, the auctioneer is free to reject that bid. And that is why you see that if the auctioneer is interested, or if the auctioneer has agreed to that bid, there is a fall of the hammer, which means that auctioneer has accepted the bid. In this case, bid is an offer. Auction is invitation to an offer. Falling of the hammer is acceptance of the offer, which is the bid. Last example that we will see is advertisements. So rule of thumb is thumb rule. Typically advertisements are invitation to an offer and not an offer. Let's look at some types of advertisements. Flats starting at rupees 1 crore, sale up to 50% off. Now, logically speaking, also, if you think about these statements, you would be able to conclude that these are only invitations to third parties, that third parties can come and make an offer to the seller, and it is not an offer made by the seller. There's only one exception. If you remember that smoke ball case, where the advertisement clearly said that if anybody who consumes the medicine in the manner as directed by the company and still catches influenza will get 100 rupees. So that advertisement was clear that it was an offer and it was not an invitation to an offer. So please remember this distinction, smoke ball case. And that is why I said that this is a thumb rule. Usually advertisements are invitation to an offer. So whenever you come across an advertisement, your first feeling should be to analyze it from the perspective of an invitation to an offer. The only exception is when you clearly see in the advertisement that there is an offer. So if an advertisement says whoever pays rupees 1 crore will get this flat, that is an offer. That is not an invitation to an offer. But if the advertisement merely says flats starting at rupees 1 crore, it clearly shows that the seller is inviting third parties to make an offer. So to summarize, whenever CLAT gives you price lists, catalogues with the prices displayed, goods with price tag in a shop, advertisements, your first instinct should be, oh wait, these are not offers. These are examples of invitation to an offer. Again, this is subject to exceptions. You will have to look at the content to verify and apply that test. Test is if the offeree accepts that whatever statement has been made, if the offeree accepts it, will the offerer be bound by it? If the offerer is bound by it the moment acceptance is communicated, then it is an offer. But even if, let's say, even after the offeree, if don't call him offeree, but even after the third party has communicated their acceptance, the person making that statement is not bound by it, then it is invitation to an offer. That is the test. Okay. Now apply this test to all scenarios and you will get this clear answer every time. And that will help you distinguish between invitation to an offer and an offer. So remember just this. Number one, when somebody makes an offer, there is an intention to be bound immediately. And why are we saying this? Go back and check the definition of offer that we had discussed. That an offer is a proposal to do or not to do something with the objective of getting the other side's acceptance. So the intention is to be bound immediately the moment acceptance is communicated. Whereas invitation to an offer is intention to invite third parties to make an offer. To negotiate or make an offer. Intention to invite third parties to negotiate or make an offer. If you remember these points, you won't get this wrong in CLAT. Okay, so please revise whatever we discussed today, because this is a very important area. Again, it is as we discussed in the first few classes, before you even understand what is an agreement or what is a contract, you need to be aware of your basics, which are offer, acceptance. And as I had said before, if there is no offer, there cannot be an acceptance. Therefore, there cannot be an agreement. Therefore, there cannot be a contract. So, unless you understand whether something is an offer or invitation to an offer, you won't be able to get this right, or you won't be able to understand whether there is an agreement or not. Because let's say you make a mistake and you understand an invitation to an offer, you misunderstand that as an offer, then your entire concept and your entire understanding will go wrong. Okay, so this is it for today. Revise, and if you have any doubts, please feel free to comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Study wisely and study properly. Thank you.